Good afternoon. So in the last class, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So in the last class, we discussed about IPv4 address, ranges of IPv4 address, and we already know the all range from class A to class E. So a class A IP address starting with 1 and the last range is 255 and the range of class A is 1 to 127, but 127 is reserved for some other purpose. So we can say the range of class A is 1 to 126, and then class B start with 128 and goes up to 191, and then 192 is the starting address of class C and it goes up to 223, then 224 to 239 is the range of class D, and 240 to 255 is the range of class E. Okay, so this is clear to you. Let's start the next slide. So now we'll discuss the range of PCL IP address. Among those IP address from 1 to 255, there are some IP address which are only used for some special case or some special purpose on the 11 student. Will somebody join? Is it the strength for today or somebody will join later? Someone is traveling. Chandra Sharma. So next week onwards, you have to switch on your video. This is strict instruction coming from university. While taking class, you have to switch on your video. At my point, so this instruction already came from the university. So this is the range. If a address is starting with 169.254.0.0 and the range will go up to 169.254.0.16. This range of IP address is reserved for the screen is visible to you. Yes, somebody is writing no. Those who is unable to see the screen, you reconnect again. It may be slow net in your side. Okay, the 169.254.0.0. Which class it is? Can you tell me? Write in quick in the search box. 169.254.0.0 is up to 169.254.0.16. This IP address is reserved for linked local address. And my question is, which class it is? Yes, Moonmi is writing class B, Sibani B, Nadim. BB is not a class. You write B only. Okay, B. Okay. Okay, most of you are writing B. What was the range of class B? 128 to how much? The last IP address is 191, right? Good. So, how many address here? 169.254.0.0 16. How many IP address? Can you tell me how many IP address in this range? How many IP addresses are there in this range? 169.254.0.02, 169.254.0.16. How many IP addresses reserved for linked local address? How many? 0 to 16, that means 17 IP address. This is fixed, this one is fixed. 69, 69, 250, 254. Only the variable is 16. That means it's starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That means 0 to 16 is 17 IP address. Class B is reserved for linked local address. Those IP address will not use for other purpose. Only will use it for linked local address. Okay, is it clear? If it is clear, the next range, reserved range is, I already mentioned yesterday that 127.0.0.0 to 127.0.0.8. How many IP address? 9 IP address. 0 to 8. That means. Okay. So those IP addresses reserved for loopback address. Loopback address, we can say local host. When you want to develop some software or some website, for this purpose you can set the local host 127.0.0.0 or 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up to 8. That means for local host, this range of IP address is reserved. We cannot use this IP address for other purpose. Okay, that's why yesterday I'm not adding 127 in the class A range. Is it clear now? Why it is not 127 from 1 to 127? Because 127.0.0 to 127.0.0.8 is reserved for loopback address. Hope it is clear. Okay, yes. Then next range is 0.0.0 to 0.0.0.8. That means 0 to 7. This is used to communicate within the current network. So this are special IP address. We can call it a special IP address. Why it is called special? Because this is reserved for some other purpose. Okay. So you have to remember here the very important loopback address that we're going to use in practical. So 127.0.0.1, if somebody asks, tell me, yes, loopback address means local host. मतलब जो पीसी का खुद का एड्रेस है, सब पीसी का खुद का एड्रेस है, वो है loopback address. We can call it local host address also. मतलब मेरा पीसी का खुद का आईपी एड्रेस. Okay, if I want to develop something website and I need to test whether this website is working or not, then I will set the IP address of my PC is 127.0. Some of that range. That means loopback address range up to 127.0.0 to 0 to 8. Out of this 9 IP address, I will set one of the IP address. Is it clear? Somebody was asking in the search box, what is loopback address? Loopback address is nothing but local host address. Okay, so I'm writing here this IP address. Is it visible to you? If somebody asks, tell me the name of this IP address or tell me for which purpose this IP address is used? Tell me. Write in the search box. 127.0.0.1 is used for what purpose? Write it fast in the search box. This is loopback address, obviously. Okay. Are you feeling bored in this class, my class, routing class? Write yes, no in chat box. Anyone who's feeling bored in routing class? All are writing no. Then why only 13 students? It's interesting. Okay. Why are only attending 30 students? Last class I think 22 or 24 students attend. Okay. So this is the loopback address, and it goes up to 8. Oh, sorry, 9, 8. So it may be 2, maybe 3, it may be 4, 5, whatever. It goes up to 8. If IP address is in this range, we can call it local host address or loopback address. Normally, many time we'll use this one, 127 dot 0 dot 0 dot 1. This is the local host address, or you can call it loopback address. Okay. So these are the special ranges of IP address. So we'll move on for the next slide. Try to join on time, otherwise there's a disturbance. Those who are join late, try to join early, okay? Otherwise I have to check every time someone waiting or not. Maybe sometime it may be for network issue, no problem. But don't do it always. Okay. So in the next slide, you see private IP address. So if I talk about IP address, again we'll classify IP address, IPv4. I'm talking about IPv4. Okay. Again we'll talk about, there are two types of IP address. One is private and another one is public. What are these two? Private and public. So whatever we discuss in the range class A to C, most of the IP address is public, but some of the IP address on those class are reserved for private use only. That means these IP address, that means whatever you are watching here, that means what is displaying in the screen, those IP address you cannot use for public purpose. Public and private, the meaning is clear to you, I think. Okay, public means everyone can see, is open for all, anyone can use. Private means local. For example, if we compare our lab, for in our lab, suppose there is 100 computers. Our lab means it is downtown university lab, one of the lab, maybe 100 computers. So obviously we need 100 IP address. Okay, but downtown university will not buy. I think when you need to establish, when you need to use a website, each and every website have some IP address, and that IP address you have to buy, you have to pay for that to their service provider. What is service provider? For example, Jio maybe, Airtel maybe, broadband BSNL maybe, okay, some others service provider also there. So you have to pay some rupees monthly wise or yearly wise, whatever, to the service provider when you buy a IP address. That IP address, which is provided by service provider to you, is public, not private. Remember. So if I take the examples, for example, some 171.1.1.1, for example. Okay, so that IP address for our downtown university website IP address, suppose. Okay, that means we buy only one IP address. Now inside our campus we have lots of computers, maybe 1,000 computers in whole campus, but we pay for only one IP address, and that is public IP address. Is clear to you? So what IP address will assign for the local PC? Those all the PC we have, for example, 1,000 PC in our campus. So I have only one IP address, 171.1.1.0, whatever. Okay, so we have to use some local IP address or private IP address. Okay, for that these ranges of IP address is reserved. So you have to remember this three line. What is that three line here? 192, it is written the organization that distribute IP address to the world reserve, river, yeah, reserve. Okay, reserve a range of IP address for private networks. Okay, so first range is 192.168.0.0, and it is goes up to 192.168.255.255. So there are 65,536 IP address in this range. Okay, can you tell me each IP address is belongs to which class? Right, is pass C. Yeah, right, C. So some of the IP address of C we are reserved for private use. That means inside the organization. When we need to keep some IP address inside our campus, inside our lab, we'll use one of these IP address, maybe 192.168.1.1, maybe 192.168.1.1, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe. Okay, I'm skipping that first part. Okay, dot 2, dot 3, like that. Okay, 192.168.1.1, 1.2, sorry, 1.2, 1.3, like that. It just goes up to what? What's the range here? Last range is up to 255. Okay, this is fixed 190 to 168, 190 to 168. Okay, and this will go up to 255. It will goes up to 255. Sorry. Okay, once this last line is over, then we'll again start 192.168, that is fixed. Then what is that? Zero. It was how one zero. Okay, this is zero. Zero two again. Then zero dot, it goes up to 255, right? 255. Okay. Then we'll start 192, 168 dot 1 dot 255. Sorry, 1 dot 255, like that. And in between, then 2 dot 255, then 3 dot 255. It goes up to what? 255 dot 255. That means this is 192, 168. So in this range, we have 65,536 IP address. This is this IP address. So this range is reserved for private. So you have to remember this range. Okay. So next range is 172.16.0.02, 172.31.255, 255. So in this range, we'll get this much of IP address reserved. Can you tell me which class it is? 172.16.0 class B. Yes, this is the class B private address. These are private. Remember, these are private. We cannot use this for public. That means service provider will not provide this IP address to us when we go for buy a private or buy a IP address. These are free. We can use at any time. Okay, but when we need to develop a website, or you have to host in the internet that site, you have to buy obviously a public IP address from one of the service provider, ISP. We call it ISP, internet service provider. And the last range is, this is obviously class A, 10.0.0.02, 10.255, 255, 255, and that is the that much of IP address is reserved for private use. Okay, so these three range of IP address will used for private IP. Okay, is it clear? If it's clear, write yes in the search box. If any doubt, you ask. Okay, any problem up to this? Up to this, no problem. No, sir. Good. I'm taking more time for this because this topic is important. Okay, That's all about your IPv4. So what we learned in this? We learned there were five classes: class A, B, C, D, E. A and B and C are used for practical purpose. D is used for multi-purpose. Oh, sorry, multicasting. E is used for not used. It is used for experimental purpose. And there are some special IP address. There are some private IP address which is used inside the organization. And we was discussing this topic under class full address. So I think you remember in the past class itself this how much we have completed. MAC address we have completed, IP address, then IPv4 completed. Up to this completed. Now we'll talk about some of the things. Later on, if we'll get some more time, we'll discuss details of IPv6. But now we'll just give some introduction of IPv6. Okay, in this class. Okay, what is IPv6? You can see here IPv6 is the next generation internet protocol standard intent to eventually replace IPv4. IPv4 need to replace why? Why we need to replace? Why IPv4 is not sufficient nowadays? In the next slide, it is written. You can see every computer, mobile phone, and any other device connected to the internet needs a numerical IP address in order to communicate with other devices. The original IP address scheme called IPv4 is running out of addresses. That means we have only limited numbers of IP address. So in IPv4, the length length of IPv4 was how much? Can you tell me right fast in the chat box? What is the length of IPv4? How much long? 32 bits, right? Yes. So 32 bits. From 32 bits, we can generate 2 to the power 2 to the power नहीं लिख सकता हूँ यहाँ पे मैं 2 to the power 32 2 to the power 32 address we can generate. That is called space address space. 2 to the power 32, if you have calculator you can get the answer. So that much of IP address we can say now only that much of IP address we can generate in IPv4. Nowadays all of you know, I have two mobiles, I have three sim. Okay, I am using three IP at the time. I may have a internet TV also. I may have a laptop. Every person have lots of digital device which is all the time is connected with the internet. All the time is connected with the internet means all the time we are using one of the IP address. So earlier there was less numbers of users, internet user we can say, but nowadays there is lots of internet user with lots of electronic devices. That's why IPv4 is not sufficient nowadays because IPv4 have only 32 bits address and we can generate only 2 to the power 32 numbers of IP address. Is it clear? If it is clear, write yes. Why we need to go for IPv6? My answer is IPv4 is not sufficient. IPv4 from IPv4 you can generate only 2 to the power 32 numbers of IP address. So we need to go for IPv6, and IPv6 is 128 bits length. It's a big number compared to IPv4. Okay, this is written here. An IPv6 address uses 128 bits as opposed to 32 bits in IPv4. If somebody asks what is the difference between IPv4 and IPv6, the first point is IPv6 is 128 bit length, IPv4 is 32 bits length. IPv6 addresses are written using hexadecimal as opposed to dotted decimal in IPv4. So you remember in IPv4 we can represent in two ways. One is dotted decimal and another one is binary. Dotted decimal and binary. But IPv6 will represent in hexadecimal number. Hexadecimal number is clear to you. What is hexadecimal number? Hexadecimal number is nothing but there are 16 numbers in hexadecimal. So what are that? 0 to 9, then A to F. F is A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, E, and F. F. F is nothing but 16. 16 or 15? 16. Okay. This is 9, then this is 10. This is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15. So these are 16 numbers. That's why it is called hexadecimal. 0 to 15, but 15 is represented in F, 14 is represented in E, D, C, E, A. 10 is A. So these are hexadecimal. So IPv6 is represented in hexadecimal number. Okay, because an hexadecimal number uses 4 bits. This means that IPv4 address consists of 32 hexadecimal number. 32 into 4, how much? Is 128. If you calculate 32 into 4, it's 128. Okay, so each and every hexadecimal have 4 bits. Okay, so 4 bits into 32, 4 bits into 32. Okay, 4 bits into 32 is 128 bits. So IPv4 address consists of 32 hexadecimal numbers, and that is 128 bits, right? These numbers are grouped in four giving 8 groups or blocks. That means this 32 bits is again grouped into 8 blocks. You can see in the last line. Okay, it is 4, this 4, this 4, this 4, this 4. These are how many blocks? 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See? 8 into 4, 32 bits number. Here 32 bits number. And each and every hexadecimal have 4 bits. Okay? So hexadecimal number have 4 bits. That means hexadecimal can be represented as 4 bits in binary. So I already mentioned here 4 into 32 120 bits. Again this 32 bits is divided into 8 blocks and each and every block have 4 digits. Okay, this is 2001, then and hexadecimal in the next line is written. The group are written in a column as a separator. In IPv4, you remember each and every octet is separated by a dot, but here each and every group is separated by a column. Is it clear? Right? Yes, no? In IPv6, each and every group, there was 8 groups, each and every groups is separated by a column. Okay, so this is 8 groups, and each and every group has 4 digits, and each and every digit have 4 bits. Okay, 4 bits into 32 128, then this 4 digits in each block. So it is written, the groups are written in a column as separator, group 1, group 2, dot 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 up to group 8. Okay, for example, this is the IPv6 address. Okay, hope it's clear to you. Okay. So this one I'll again repeat. Okay, this one is very important. Somebody is writing something. Yeah, difference between IPv6, IPv4. Yeah, one is IPv6 is 128 bits length. IPv4 is 32 bits. IPv4 is represented in dotted decimal and binary notation, but IPv6 is represented in hexadecimal notation. Each and every octet in IPv4 is separated by a dot. Each and every IPv6 address is separated by a colon. Okay. So disadvantage of IPv4 and IPv6. IPv6 do not have disadvantage. Okay. It is complex, that is you can say, but IPv4 have some disadvantage. What is that disadvantage? Is limited numbers and wastage, that we'll discuss in this slide. I do not have time for today. So that will last question answer I will give in the next class. Here is a chance of wastage of IP address, and there may be a chance of overloaded wastage और लेस, कभी कभी कम भी हो सकता है, कभी कभी आईपी एड्रेस वेस्ट भी हो सकता है. उसके लिए we have to go for another techniques, that is subnetting. We'll discuss in the next class. It is displayed in your screen. Understand subnetting. So that question answer is related to this slide. But since I have only 5 minutes left, so we'll not go for this. If any doubt, you can ask. IPv4 have a big disadvantage. We'll discuss in the next class. Any doubt? Anyone? So this topic is clear, 100% clear to you? Yes, not, no. Cannot find a class. So you have to go to this view recording is there no option. I don't know in your login is available or not. I already upload 5 6 classes. There's a link. You need to click on that link and you'll get that video. But the yesterday's class I did not upload it yet. We'll upload today maybe. Okay, fine. Yeah, we'll do it. I'll do it. I'll share it in the Google Classroom. Hope all of you are joined in my Google Classroom. So I'll give some assignment also. I'll give the notes. Everything will upload in Google Classroom. Okay. So if no doubt, you can send the attendance in my WhatsApp. So I'll close it here. Thank you.